thought Nintendo said that they weren't going to start putting news on the Nintendo Today app until April 2nd, so I had not downloaded it yet, but it seems that over the weekend they dropped some pretty cool news on there. They revealed the release date for the Zelda movie, and you know, this whole Nintendo Today thing, it really is cute. I really do like it. It really is taking the idea of a Nintendo Direct where it's not just about having the information delivered directly to you, it's also about kind of like packaging it in a fun way, you know, rather than like waking up in the morning and going on social media and like seeing the news. This way, like if you do the app first, it's like, oh, you know, the Zelda movie will release on da, 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 and then like right there on the thing, it gets to show the release date. I don't know, it's silly, but like it's fun. It really is a little micro version of the Nintendo Direct experience. So yeah, I'm really curious to see how else they use it. So the official news to come out of this is that the movie is going to release on March 27th, 2027, pretty much 2 years after the, the announcement of the release date. We pretty much have 2 years to go now. And I will say that's a little surprising. That's not very long. I feel like if it's coming 2 years from right now, sure, it could get delayed. It's hard to get excited about a release date, especially for a movie this far in advance. I mean, any movie can be delayed. It is a very, don't get married to that date. Don't request work off yet or whatever. We really don't know. But if at this moment they think that the movie is coming out in 2 years, they have to be filming like now. You know, like they have to be there. They basically have to be in like full production mode. If not filming, then filming pretty soon because yeah, I mean this is a big fantasy epic, and there's going to be loads and loads of post-production, CG, everything. But the fun thing is, to go along with this official news, we have a whole host of rumors from various sources. Some of these come from website Production List, and I will say, any information coming from a movie or show news website, I'm going to take with a particularly large grain of salt, at least in my experience. I feel like, the whole internet is trash now. You know, everything is just lies and clickbait and whatnot. But I don't know if anything is quite as fake as like a show or movie site. You know, it's always just like seasons of shows and sequels to movies that are not even real, have not even been confirmed, that may never happen. And it'll be like, this movie 2, release date, plot synopsis, cast, like they I don't know. So yeah, I don't know if any of this is true or not, but according to Production List, the film is shooting in New Zealand, which, even if that's not official news, that's just a good bet. That it just really is. There's probably no better place to shoot a high fantasy movie on this planet. And I actually have a good friend who recently went on vacation to New Zealand, and he was like, no, yeah, it really is just Middle-earth. Like, it is. It just, like, for real. It's not like one of those things where it's like, oh, that's just the touristy stuff. He's like, no, like, the entire place, it really basically is Middle-earth. It is the perfect place to shoot a fantasy movie. So yeah, definitely would not be surprised. But Production List also claims that shooting is going to take place between November 4th, 2025 and April 7th, 2026. So that would be a good chunk of months for pre-production, then about half a year for shooting, and then a little less than half of the year for post-production and whatnot. So yeah, we don't know if that's true, but could see it. Seems reasonable, I suppose. And then the website also has a little plot summary. Again, this could just be something that a writer for that website just kind of did. Or even like ChatGPT or something. We really don't know. Maybe it is official. Maybe they have a connection. I don't know. Whatever. The synopsis is as follows. A live-action adaptation of the video game franchise, The Legend of Zelda follows Link, a young warrior destined to protect the magical kingdom of Hyrule from the forces of darkness. The land is under threat from Ganon, a ruthless warlord who seeks the Triforce, an ancient relic said to grant limitless power. To stop him, Link must embark on a perilous journey, battling monstrous creatures, exploring treacherous dungeons, and solving intricate puzzles to uncover sacred artifacts that can aid him in his quest. So yeah, pretty bog standard Zelda stuff. If this is official, then I will say it would be interesting if they went straight for the Ganon angle. I kind of feel like if you're doing a Zelda movie, you gotta start with Ganondorf. I feel like it only makes sense, especially for like, you may do multiple movies. The first movie's gotta be the one where he just starts as a guy, and then like at the end, he becomes the Ganon, and then maybe in future games or future movies there can be more Ganon-y stuff. So yeah, again, I don't know. This really probably is just something that somebody made up. We don't know. And then furthermore, one Daniel Richtman seems to be some sort of movie rumor monger. He says that they have already nailed down the casting for Link, Ganon, Zelda, and Impa. So they already have actors. Tom Holland has already accepted. We know it's going to be, we just know it's gonna be Tom Holland. There's no way it's not. I don't know about the other characters. I don't even know enough about whoever is popular right now. And as we all know, all of these roles will be filled with whoever is popular right now. Yeah, cool to see. I guess it makes sense that Impa is in there. That does make a lot of sense. We tend to focus so much on like Link and Ganon and Zelda that like I forget like Impa is absolutely gonna be a key player in the movie probably. And Mr. Richtman says that all of the other roles are expected to be decided later this year in August. By August, they'll have all the roles locked in so that they can start shooting, in November, if that's true. Now, here's the best part. Here's the juiciest part of this rumor that everybody probably already knows about by now. It happened on the weekend. I try not to work on the weekend. This was on like Saturday or something. So I'm sorry. Work-life balance. I'm just now catching up. Point is, though, Daniel Richtman says that the main actors have already been locked in to shoot a trilogy, to shoot 3 movies to make Zelda a trilogy. And, I mean, obviously, if this is true, then that is pretty cool. He says that a shooting would take place over the space of 6 years. But if they're only shooting between November and April, that would suggest to me that they are going to shoot one movie and then see how it goes. And then maybe if that movie does well enough, because there's no way that they're going to agree, like write it in stone, that they're going to have to make a trilogy. They have to see if the first movie is going to succeed. And I, not to go on the whole entire tangent all over again, but I don't think I'm alone in imagining that a live-action Zelda movie is just more risky. I think there's a perfectly fine chance that it will do really, really well simply because it is Zelda and everybody wants to see what a Zelda movie looks like. But if somehow it just turned out, I don't know, like if it was really critically panned or something and they weren't that confident that they could make more, maybe they wouldn't. I don't know, but it does seem like they're not, if these other rumors are true, then they're not doing a Lord of the Rings where they just spend 2 years shooting the whole entire thing and then making 3 movies out of it. They probably are just gonna shoot one, get it finished, see how it goes. And then if it does well enough, then I think there's a perfectly fine chance that the second and third movies will be shot like together. I mean, it makes the most sense. You got all the actors and everything in New Zealand or whatever. It makes sense to kind of wrap it all up into one whole neat package. And boy, if it is true, that's really interesting. It's like, how might that affect how they handle this first movie? Like, is that gonna kind of affect how they do the story, how they depict these events and these characters? Maybe not. It could just, I mean, it's Zelda, the first movie, it's gonna follow a pattern. It's gonna be Link, and he realizes he's the hero of destiny, and it's a Triforce, and it's a Ganon, and it's a fight at the end. It's a Master Sword. We get all that. But it's interesting because if it is a trilogy, then like, okay, if Zelda is really just the same story told over and over again in the games, how do you do that in a movie? You really can't just tell the exact same story multiple times across 3 movies over the course of 6 years. The movie-going public, they're gonna get pretty annoyed by that. So you do kind of have to do something different. And I don't think it would be very likely that they would tell only part of the story in the first movie and leave everyone hanging. That's also not really that good of an idea. You really do have to have a series that you know is going to do really well, and you know that the next movie is going to get funded, and you know everyone's going to show up. But like, people going to see a Zelda movie, it's like the Mario movie. You're not going to give us the Mario movie and he doesn't fight Bowser at the end, you know? It doesn't really make sense. So I don't think this is going to be one story split up into 3, but then again, if the first movie is a perfect and whole Zelda movie, what do you do with the story beyond that? Off the top of my head, you know, it is true that like if the first movie is all about Ganondorf and he becomes Ganon at the end, then you sort of have another angle for the next movie. Now it's, oh, he's been locked into the spirit realm, and now he's like full on pig mode. So now they're trying to bring him back. So I could kind of see a second movie. But then, like, what's the third movie? You know, they're not going to just be like, it's Wind Waker. They're not going to do a Wind Waker movie. This is all still going to very much be packaged to be as, like, basic Zelda as possible, so that it strikes a better chord with more of a broad audience. I don't know, whatever. It's probably not worth speculating too much at this point. But the idea is interesting. The idea that they may do a Zelda movie trilogy. I mean, I'm at this age now where, like, I really don't get my hopes up about anything. Really anything. Like, literally, there's no thing that you could announce to me that I will just be like, I'm sure that's gonna be great, and I'm just excited. I'm like, nah, I've been burned enough times. I'm cautiously optimistic. If it's good, then I will enjoy it. I'm not ready to get super excited yet, but I have to say, if the Zelda movie ends up being good, and it's like this big New Zealand shot epic, and it ends up being a trilogy, I mean, just 14-year-old me would just be over the stinking moon about all this. It's a crazy idea. It's the kind of stuff that, like, back when I was a teenager, I dreamed, like, Nintendo was not nearly as big, and I just dreamed of it being big. I dreamed of just, like, movies and shows and, like, way more merchandise and all that stuff. And in a lot of ways, that reality has kind of come to pass. Nintendo is much more relevant now. There is way more merchandise. More people are aware of Nintendo, and now we are getting movies. So yeah, I don't know. It's just an interesting idea. It's already an interesting idea that we're getting a big live action, super huge Zelda movie. And now it might end up being a trilogy. Yeah, whether or not that's true, though, we will have to wait and see. We may not even know until the movie comes out and we see how it does. You know, like, it's gonna get a lot of people in seats. A lot of people are probably gonna go see it. But, you know, it's also going to be really expensive to produce, and if it doesn't quite make enough money, then they might not greenlight a trilogy, but if it makes $1 billion like the Mario movie, then there you go.